What's up, Crypt Nation? It is Thursday, September
12th.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is episode 38.
Yep.
And we couldn't be more stoked to be here with you guys. It's like one of the biggest days in news in a while.
Yes.
And it's really all about France today. Who would have thought?
Well, they like to get some attention, and they certainly have today with all the things they have going on here. So they have clarified some crypto tax laws.
Right.
And they have also told Libra to fuck off.
Right. Yes. We had Brad Garlinghouse on CNN. So we'll talk about our takeaways from that. And we have a new study that Pizza Mind was looking at that showed UK banks being fined $66 billion for insurance fraud in some time frame that Pizza Mind will go into.
Yeah. Recently.
Binance US opens for registrations this week, so that's big news. And then we have lastly an update on the GXChain shuttering that happened. They got seized by the authorities, and we will talk about that. So I'll kick us off today with France clarifying some regulations on their crypto tax laws. So this is good news for everybody, because basically what they say is that you will not be taxed on currency to currency exchanges except through fiat. So what does that mean? So if I go from Monero to Bitcoin to whatever, Litecoin, they're not doing those capital gains on each one, which is a nightmare to calculate, and which is what the US currently has. What they're doing is they're saying, you could stay in that ecosystem, you could trade, we're going to give it like-kind privileges. And then when you go to fiat, you just calculate your capital gain from the moment you put your money in to the moment you put your money out. So there's first money in, first money out, or first money out, whatever. There's a bunch of different ways to calculate it, but I'm not sure exactly which one they're going to be using. But somebody else who already does this is Portugal. Portugal already has this same law in place, and America has a bill that is introduced. It was introduced last month to have this same kind of treatment, but it is not finalized yet.
Yeah. So
that's that.
Maybe in 4 to 5 years, or whatever re-election term is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever these guys are getting reelected, that's when they'll finally pass something helpful.
So the same guy, the finance minister of France, gave a big FU to Facebook and Libra.
Yeah. So the finance minister, Bruno Le Maire, claimed that the country will halt the development of Facebook's planned Libra stablecoin in Europe because it threatens the monetary sovereignty of governments.
Yes. They are going to do, what is the quote? He says, I want to be absolutely clear. In these conditions, we cannot authorize the development of Libra on European soil. ... Libra can't and must not happen. And that is out of the question. Okay, fine.
Yeah, so they want to go as far as blocking app development on Libra in France and potentially banning Libra to be used as currency for merchants. So they're literally going to do whatever they can to make sure Facebook cannot introduce Libra into France.
Right, and it just goes to show that Bitcoin can't be stopped, and a lot of these other cryptocurrencies can't be stopped. But with Libra, there is an organization behind it that can be halted. So, it's the power of decentralization versus centralization.
Speaking of which, that's a great segue into Ripple.
Great segue into Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, and the biggest holder of XRP, on CNN. So what did he talk about today, Pete?
So there's been a lot of FUD going around lately, and he went on CNN to address a lot of it.
Right.
The community's threatened to fork XRP. They're really, really upset that Ripple has been dumping a bunch of supply on the open market, that they've been selling to institutional investors privately, and they haven't all made hundreds of millions of dollars a piece yet. So he went on CNN to talk about that.
Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, he states that there's all kinds of assets that are speculated on even when they shouldn't be, and that the true value of an asset is related to its utility and how much it's being used.
Right.
Which is true.
It's true.
There are some tough questions asked of him, and the answers he gave were not very good. He states that Ripple does not control the price of XRP any more than the whales control the price of Bitcoin.
Which is kind of an oxymoron, or kind of ironic, I guess, because as we know, people who control the largest supply of a market, I mean, that's literally by definition, they corner a market, they control the supply.
And that's how market cycles work, not just for Bitcoin, but for lots of commodities that have volatility.
Absolutely.
It's literally done by the whales. So
he's a little disingenuous, I think.
Well, I don't know if that's what he meant, but he definitely didn't say it very well.
But I think my favorite thing that he said out of everything was that he's long Bitcoin.
Yes.
So the CEO of XRP of Ripple is long Bitcoin.
He explained the difference between Bitcoin and Ripple, saying that Bitcoin is the digital gold. It's a great store of value.
Yep.
But as far as a international transaction currency, XRP is much better. It's faster, costs less. But he very publicly stated that these two can coexist together and they're not in competition, which I'm very much in favor for.
Yeah. Absolutely. So moving on to this big study that you've been reading through by Electric Capital.
Mm-hmm.
Electric Capital. I met Avi, actually. The name's familiar. He used to do a bunch of stuff for location services at Facebook. I remember. But anyhow, he talks about this study. So why don't you go into that?
Yeah, so he was Avi Garg is the co-founder of Electric Capital. They're looking into all kinds of digital crime and stuff. And they documented shocking findings regarding misconduct and fines in the banking industry in the last decade. Very shocking.
Banking people do manipulation and insurance fraud and money laundering.
I know it's hard to believe, but we have to believe it now. So over the last decade, the world's top banks have been fined over $300 billion for various acts of misconduct. That's bigger than the entire cryptocurrency market.
I was just going to say
that is insanity.
You took
regulators still are concerned about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Bullshit. So according to these figures, these fines are for a range of offenses, including mortgage abuses, tax violations, insider trading, anti-money laundering discrepancies, toxic securities, interest rate manipulation, and consumer protection violations.
Oh my God.
Which means they are making so much money hand over fist that they don't care that they're being fined $300 billion. Until you start throwing these people in prison for life, it's not going to stop. That's the real takeaway from this. So the costliest scandal in UK financial history is coming to an end this week as the payment protection insurance debacle winds down. Banks and finance institutions have aggressively sold this protection plan that barely even covers, like if they were to someone were to actually cash in this insurance plan, it would barely cover the cost that they paid into it.
And I love this part here at the end on this banking expose that we're going through, right? It says Barclays, Citigroup, JP Morgan, MUFG, and the Royal Bank of Scotland, we're fined $1.2 billion for rigging the spot foreign exchange market for 11 currencies. So we're always getting told by the banks here in the crypto market and the regulators, hey, those are being manipulated. But it's like, take the stick out of your own eye before you yell at us for the speck in our eye. It's like, these people are of course they're rigging and manipulating all these markets. It's insane, dude. So many backroom deals.
Yeah, so they figured out, okay, we'll make $10 billion and pay the $1 billion fine. Fuck it. That's the way the world works right now.
It's bad. It's bad news. Anyhow, so as everybody knows, Binance US, they're coming out of the gate this week. And as of today, it was the last day that any US citizen could be caught on their platform. No one will be locked out. Funds are still safe for those people that are Americans that have Binance funds. But anyhow, you won't be able to trade on there if you're an American. So yeah, that's that. And then lastly, we have an update on the crackdown in China on GXChain.
Yeah. So the firm was allegedly scraping and processing sensitive information, including personal credit data, for more than 2 million verified users. So the investigation was not related to their cryptocurrency, but related to their data harvesting practices. All the executives of GXChain are being held for interrogation right now. Documents and computers have been seized.
That's not a good way to go into the weekend for GXChain.
No, definitely not.
But anyhow, that's today in crypto. We will keep you posted. And as always, every day at 5 p.m. Pacific, I think we're going to change the time up a little bit here.
So for the rest of the week anyway.
Yeah, 5 p.m. Pacific, come join us today on YouNow. That's younow.com/crypto101. We go live. Come ask us your questions and have a great day.